Halo Nightfall is an action drama. It's really about people. It's about characters, including a character who's going to show up in Halo 5 Guardians.
It's a story about Oni agent Locke. Locke is kind of the best of Oni, and he's been sent on a mission to a place called Sedra.
He's an intelligence officer. He is well known as a manhunter, and that's actually what brings him to planet Sedra.
I think we're pretty much as an elite force as you can find. I'm expected to lead this group and point them in the right direction and to get the task done.
You don't play God! That's not your right!
He has an interesting character arc in Halo 5 Guardians, but his journey and his transformation really start here in Halo Nightfall, and in some ways that's really what the story's about. It's a story about heroes and the good and the bad side of heroism and what people expect from heroes.
The team that we meet in Nightfall, there's two teams really. There's the Oni team, there's Locke's crew, and then there's the Sedrans, the local forces, who don't really appreciate the presence of Oni there.
Oni doesn't work alongside anyone, it's just you and everyone else way below.
And so when you have the Oni and the Sedran Colonial Guard come together, what you really get is a clash of cultures. You get the Oni, who are sort of the height of military technology and prowess, and the Sedrans, who have had to fend for themselves without the benefit of UNSC support. And so the coming together really is a dynamic that plays out even within itself.
I'm the one making the decisions around here. We're not making any decisions like that.
Your team is dead and you got no ship. You're just one of the rest of us now.
Horrigan.
Yes, sir.
Aiken is a colonel in the Sedran forces, and when you meet him, he's a Sedran. He's strong, everybody looks to him. But you find out throughout the course of the show that he actually has a much more complicated history, in that he was a Spartan too.
He is sort of the badass of Sedra. And so Aiken and Locke end up having an interesting arc together.
I think one of the most exciting things about Halo Nightfall for hardcore Halo fans is the main location of the action. We start off on the planet Sedra. It's an outer colony world. It's pretty interesting in itself. But we end up on a lost fragment of the first Halo ring.
Ring fragment, really, that we encounter in the show is a leftover piece of the ring that Master Chief blew up in the very first game. You've been on this ring before, but this is what happens after it explodes and after security systems that the Forerunners built into the Halos tried to go off, didn't really work so well. So we're left with really just a shattered piece of what used to be this enormous ring in the sky.
Impossible.
Plants, water. What the hell is this?
Halo ring? I don't put anything past it.
And it's almost like a living creature. The terrain and the geology is its skin, and it's trying to maintain its ecosystem and trying to repair itself every night before the sun rises. Because when the sun rises, it gets to 900 degrees. So our heroes find themselves trying to survive on this incredibly, incredibly dangerous environment.
The remaining life, kind of the big local threat, aside from being burnt to a cinder, are the worms. Golo worms, they're called. Fans of the Halo games, or people that have been in the universe before, have seen them mostly as hunters. These are worms, kind of collectives of these worms that gather into these forms. They build the big blue, kind of stompy guys with great big plasma cannons and shields that'll usually try to smack you. But these are all individual worms, kind of individual creatures that band together to accomplish a higher purpose. And so these worms that they encounter on the Halo fragment are much more feral, much more dangerous, much more hungry, maybe is a good way to describe them, because they don't have a lot to eat on a Halo ring, so when our heroes show up, that looks pretty good to them. It's fun for fans of the games who've been seeing these things for quite a while to encounter them in a new form, and frankly, kind of a terrifying new form.
So we come to the planet, we encounter something that we did not anticipate, and basically we're gonna be left to our own resources. The suit that I'm in will become useless. The equipment we brought will basically be a detriment to us, and from here on in, it's gonna be bare bones. It's gonna be back down to the basics.
None of us are getting off this stone. And in 5 hours and change, that sun is coming up. We're all gonna be dust.
That's not true. There's still the tug.
When the Condor crashes and is no longer flyable, Ramos is really the first that it kind of sinks into how dire the situation is, that no matter how successful the mission is, there's only 2 seats on the tug to get out, and he is the first that voices we need to start making some decisions here.
Some of us aren't going to survive the night. That's a given.
You're looking around these people who you have spent so much time with, you've had their backs, but at the end of the day, what happens when your survival instinct kicks in and you go, holy crap, I've got to survive.
It's a great dramatic dilemma, isn't it? You want everyone to survive. Imagine putting yourself in that situation. You know, there are 2 seats, 5 people. I mean, that cranks up the drama in the last act.
Akin has that wonderful line at the end of the movie that says, in your life, are you going to create nothing but death, or in your death, are you going to create life? And I think that's a question that maybe every soldier has to ask himself.